All right, guys. Our next guest spent his fighting career as one of Ireland's most exciting and beloved fighters, a former cage contender, featherweight champion. He now coaches the famous SBG Ireland with guys such as Conor McGregor, Adam Lobov, Chris Fields, James Gallagher, and many others, as well as his own gym, SBG Charlestown Dublin, where he trains the next crop of future champions. The man who has been known as Rowdy long before Ronda Rousey. Rowdy, Owen Roddy, welcome back to Submission Radio, mate. As is the traditional greeting, what's the crack, or what's the story, as you say in your vlogs?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I love the intro. Yeah, I'm good. And yourself, how are you?
Yeah, no, we're good, and we're happy to have you on the program. The Owen Roddy vlogs, by the way, have really taken off since their original inception. Tell us just quickly, what made you want to do them kind of in the first place? Because when we kind of look back to the team, you were kind of the first guy to kind of get out there, get the camera out, and really bring that kind of different look to behind the scenes of what's happening with your team.
You know what? It was just one of the guys in the gym said he thought it'd be great just to give people a little insight of what goes on in the camp, and I didn't really think anything of it. I just done it kind of for a laugh to let people have a look. And a friend of mine, he said, "Oh, I'll sorry about that. That's my alarm going off. I'll do." He said, "I'll edit them. I'll edit the videos and stuff like that." So we took it from there.
The thing I love about him is there's a lot of times where you're sort of just talking to the camera, and it gives people a good, opportunity to sort of get your insights and, a lot of your knowledge and sort of, add framing to like some of the stuff we're seeing. But we got to say, we were stalking you on Instagram, and we see a lot of healthy food, a lot of good nutritional choices. And we think for someone who, no longer has to make the weight, why are you eating so healthy? And why aren't you just smashing burgers like the rest of us?
I don't know. It's weird because I used to be smashing burgers when I was competing. Yeah. It's weird. I'm doing things backwards. I think. You know what? It's just I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a little bit older, and my diet is affecting me. When I was fighting, my metabolism was such a fast metabolism that I could really eat what I wanted, and I was training so much. People would know me for being like obsessed when I was competing. I used to train 3 times a day, and when I wasn't training, I was constantly doing some sort of activity. And now as I'm getting a little bit older, I'm not getting to train as much. I feel a little bit sluggish in the diet. I'm kind of supplementing the lack of training for being more cautious on what I'm eating. And, I feel great. I feel great now. Since I retired, I'm feeling fantastic. I'm training. I'm healthy. I'm enjoying everything,
We got a look of disgust from John Kavanagh when we were here in Australia with him, and we tried to stop by McDonald's. He wasn't very happy about that. So I can understand why the switch and diet. Just quickly, while we're talking about diets, we've got to get your thought on the new Burger King commercial. The spicy, crispy chicken sandwich is all the rage at the moment. What did you think of it? Does it actually play on TV in Ireland? Do you guys actually have Burger King down there as well?
Yeah, I seen it. It's deadly. You gotta love it, man. It's crazy. I haven't tried one yet. No, I haven't had a chance to try one. So, but it's weird. I'm craving one now. I've seen the ad a couple of times now at this stage, and I'm like, I need to try one. I just need to have one just to see what the crack is. But it looks tasty, and if the king is backing it, it's got to be good.
Do you or the team get free burgers from Burger King now? I'm picturing a situation like in Seinfeld where Kramer's getting unlimited cafe lattes.
Yeah, I got to get on to the man himself and find out, man. I think that should be part of the clause. Anything he does like that, the team should get free stuff. So free Burger King sounds good to me.
I want you guys to get those free burgers, but then I'm picturing Ben Stiller at the end of Dodgeball, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen to the whole team. But anyway, a lot of stuff is happening with you guys, and you guys looked like you were ready to go back into battle recently. Obviously, you're always in battle. SBG Charleston is killing it. Adam Lobov is around the corner from war. But it looked like UFC 222 was going to get a last-minute dose of Conor McGregor and SBG. What exactly happened, and how close were you guys actually to bringing this whole thing together?
Yeah, so I got the call off Conor almost a little under a month out, just kind of out of the blue. Oh yeah, look, Holloway's out of the fight. They're looking for a replacement to fight Frankie, so I'm up for it. I'm thinking of doing it. So I was like, whoa, this is all right. Let's see what the crack is. And went in and he sparred. Yeah, he hasn't sparred in too hard in a while. So like, went in and had a good tough spar with one of the guys similar to Frankie size, similar style and stuff like that. Went in, looked amazing, and we were like, he's like, yeah. He said, what do you think? I was like, you look fresh. You know what to expect from Frankie. Frankie, you're not going to get anything like he's the same type of fighter the past, all his career, the way, the kind of style of fighter he is. So I said, look, you know what you're going to get with him, and you looked great. So he's like, yeah, look, I'm gonna reach out and see what we can do. But they got back the next day. He's saying that the fight was gone. The fight was unavailable then. So yeah, but he was up for it and he was ready to go. And he was, he's been training as well. Conor's been training a good bit, so he's got the bug again, which is great. So yeah, but unfortunately that one didn't come to pass.
And just quickly on that, what was the weight situation for that? If that fight was going to happen, were you guys going to actually try and get down to featherweight, or were you looking for 165?
No, it would have been had to have been a catch weight somewhere. Featherweight. Featherweight that close there wouldn't have really happened. So it had to be kind of maybe lightweight or somewhere thereabouts.
Did you hear about the idea of a 165-pound title? Was that ever sort of in the discussions?
Yeah, there was talks about that as well. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there was talks about maybe doing it for the new belt and stuff like that. But
wow, whose idea was that? Was that your guys throwing that out there, or was that the UFC pitching it?
I don't know. I don't know who. Kind of just said like that they're bringing in the new belt, or they're hoping to bring in the new belt, so we might push for that. I don't know whether they said it to him or he was just saying about like that was in the air as well. So it was crazy because you get a phone call and then you go in, you do your session, and it was all just up in the air straight off the bat, which was great. You go straight back into the madness like with 4 weeks out. I think that would have been good as well. No big long build up to a fight, just straight back into the cage. The fight had been on top of us, and but obviously, unfortunately, it didn't come to pass. But who knows what's down the road?
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, I mean, Brian Ortega, massive night, big win over Frankie Edgar. Yeah. What was your reaction to Ortega and sort of, I suppose, the position that he's built for himself in the division? A lot of people are really excited about a possible maybe Ortega-McGregor fight, maybe down the track one day if Ortega became champion.
Yeah, Ortega's he's very, very good, very talented guy. Showcased his stand up a little bit more this time around and done really well. But I think we all know it's his ground game that kind of sets him apart from a lot of the guys. He's a very skilled grappler. He brings a lot to the table like them all. Obviously, him and Max is an interesting one as well. I think obviously Max is a way more difficult fight than Frankie. I think Ortega would find it difficult to get him to the ground and then to beat him in the stand up. So, but who knows? I mean, if Ortega gets a hold of that neck and drags him down to the ground, Max would be in a lot of trouble as well. So it's an interesting fight. He has a lot of tools, a lot of good skills, and for him and Conor, I always say the same. No matter who Conor fights, he's just got to touch it on the chin, and they all go to sleep. But there's so many potential good fights for Conor. You know what I mean? We're leading into Khabib and Ferguson, soon enough as well, and that's going to be a big one as well. So there's a lot of fights out there, and I'm sure anyone and everyone would like to get Conor in the cage and do something big,
Yeah, we'll touch on Tony Khabib in just 2 seconds, but as someone, in yourself who's been there from the very beginning, how different would you see that fight being in 2018 compared to the first one? Obviously, I'm talking about Max Holloway and Conor McGregor. And, a lot of people sort of gush over Max Holloway's improvements. Who do you think has made the most improvements in their overall game? Because they've both spent considerable time adding elements.
I think both fighters are twice the fight anywhere when they both fought. I think Max has got more confidence in his abilities, and Conor's just refined his techniques and stuff like that. It would be a great fight. It'd be another great fight, but I think Conor would probably put Max away in the fight. I think Max would probably be way more confident in his ability, and if you go in there a little bit overconfident with Conor, you're gonna go to sleep. Where he was a little bit more, he stood back in the first fight, and I think that's, and obviously Conor injured himself, he couldn't put him away. But I think it would be a great fight. Max is he's done so well since the Conor fight. He's been on a tear, and even like the likes of John Kavanagh said it back in the day. He thought Max would have been the next champion. After that fight with Conor, he could see it in Max, and I think everybody sees him. He's a great fighter, but I still think Conor's another level compared to him as well.
I guess the interesting thing here is, Coach, that obviously Max is at featherweight. We know that it kind of looked like Conor McGregor wasn't that keen on going back down to featherweight. And here we are, UFC 223, around the corner in the lightweight title between Tony and Khabib, also on the line there. Are you saying that there's a good chance that Conor McGregor would actually go back down to featherweight, especially with an option to stay at lightweight? And what would be his motivators to do that? Because we know the weight cut is kind of brutal on him.
Yeah, I mean, it is brutal on him, but so are any of the cuts, but he makes it, you know what I mean? He makes it every time. Yeah, he makes it every time. So, like, a featherweight fight, but I thought I heard Max thinking of moving up as well, like, so who knows? But the thing is with Conor, I suppose it's what makes the most sense. What's the biggest draw? And that's still yet to be kind of figured out. Whether it's another fight with Max. If that was the biggest fight, and Conor would make the weight. Conor's a professional. He would do what it takes to get back down to featherweight. If it's a lightweight fight, he'll do what he needs to do to get to lightweight. He'll do whatever it takes to do the fight that makes the most sense. So, I don't think featherweight is. He hasn't made it, but that's because there was no need to. But Max being on the tear that he's been on, that could be a fight. I can't speak for Conor. I don't know what kind of what fight he wants. But let's see after Ferguson and Khabib, let's see the reaction to win that fight and take it from there, I suppose.
I gotta say, hats off to you, because not only do you do the Owen Roddy vlogs, but you pump out an incredible amount of techniques of the week. And you break down fight finishes and things like that, and you actually you're doing fan requests as well. And you did an excellent one on takedown defense that people really need to check out. And one of the things that has always obviously been a big discussion point, especially now with Khabib Nurmagomedov dominating lightweight, you mentioned it's fighting Tony, and that's been obviously Conor's takedown defense, how they match up. From your perspective as a coach, Owen, what would you say is the key to Conor's takedown defense that you've sort of worked on with him over the years that you've noticed, and what is it that maybe people don't quite understand or just seem to underestimate about it? Because we always hear that if him and Khabib fought, Khabib would dominate him, etc., etc. What do you think people might be missing about Conor's takedown defense?
Yeah, I don't think people realise how good Conor's takedown defense is. Conor's been refining it for many years, and like he's obviously doing a lot of stuff with John and Sergey Pakulski, the wrestling coach at SBG as well. Conor's worked many years with him as well. So Conor's well versed in wrestling, and it's his ability to stop things early. He never allows stuff to get too deep. Like he never allows people to get right in on the takedown. He's always establishing his frames and stuff like that, and even even stops it before people even get there. It's his ability to maintain the range and keep people at his arm's length. These are all big factors that make it very difficult for wrestlers to get in deep and to enter in, correctly into a good position to take them down. Even against the cage, like you've seen him against Alvarez, like his ability to get the frames in and stuff to takedowns was amazing in that fight. And he's well versed. I mean, people don't realize. People can say what they want, but we see it day in and day out in the gym. He's very, very difficult to take down.
Thank you so much for your time. Oh, and just a couple more questions and we'll let you go. Just quickly on that fight, who do you think wins between Tony and Khabib? And if you had to choose who you'd rather see Conor fight next out of those guys, who excites you more?
Yeah, it depends on who excites me. It depends. Both of them bring a lot to the table. Now, obviously, they don't bring the same kind of magnitude of what Conor brings, but they both, stylistically, they both pose different threats. Like Ferguson is, he's very unorthodox and he throws things out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Khabib comes forward, tries to walk you down, tries to make you panic and take a step backwards and put you on the cage and then grinds it out. So they're both great fights to try and break down and both great fighters to try and break down and come up with a game plan to beat them. Who do I think wins against each when they compete? I'd probably go against. I'd probably go with Khabib just because I'm yet to see people stop him from pressing him up against the cage and taking him down and putting the weight on him. But then again, you never know. Ferguson comes out with these, he's got that lovely, he's head and arm chokes and darces and stuff like that. He's got serious submissions himself, and he'll definitely be beating Khabib in the striking exchanges. He's got unorthodox strikes as well. So, and Khabib, we've all seen that he's been hit a few times. So it's an interesting fight, but I would probably go with Khabib, to be honest.
All right, well, there you go, Khabib. Just quickly before we let you go, Dana White, obviously, usually very respectful when talking about Conor. He basically said that Conor does want the belt. He wants to be the champion, but he doesn't want to defend it. These days, it's probably one of the biggest criticism that Conor faces. What do you think of that notion of sort of Conor not defending the belts? And do you think in some ways, Conor being stripped of the belt when Tony and Khabib fight, it somewhat, I guess, works out well for him because, like you said, there's a lot of options for Conor, and this way he can pursue, other big fights.
Yeah, to be honest, I just, Conor likes to fight the right fight. He wants to fight the fight that makes the most sense. And at the moment, he didn't get to defend his featherweight belt because there was nobody there for him to fight against. There just wasn't the opponent there. Do you know what I mean? So unfortunately, that's why he had to give it up. You know what I mean? And that's the case. That's been the case at lightweight as well. There wasn't the name to fight. At the end of the day, he's a superstar now, and he deserves the big paychecks that he got on this, obviously in his last boxing. He deserves these big paychecks, and there hasn't been a big name in the UFC to match him. But as I said, whoever kicks up the biggest fuss and gets the biggest I suppose kind of fan base behind him, he'll fight. And whether it's at featherweight, whether it's at lightweight, or whether it's at a different weight, whatever the biggest fight is, I'm sure that's the fight Conor will take, because that's what he's about. He's not afraid to defend any belt. He's not afraid to fight anybody. But he wants to fight the biggest fights possible. He's the biggest name in the sport, and he wants the biggest fights that he can possibly do. You know what I mean? I think that's why people love him.
Of course. And I mean, while we're talking about big names, I mean, and speaking of 165, would you like to see a Conor McGregor GSP fight at 165 possibly for the belt? Because there are some rumors around that, and we know there's no one bigger than GSP in the company.
Yeah, well, that is Conor. You know what I mean? That would be a big pay-per-view without a doubt. You know what I mean? I still say that Conor brings most. I think I've seen something about Faraz putting up like that. let's see who's the biggest pay-per-view draw. I'd be confident in saying that Conor's still the biggest pay-per-view draw between him and GSP, but it would be an insane fight. It would be a crazy fight. It would be huge. It would be probably the biggest fight that the UFC have done. But and it would be great. And if I'm sure if the money was right for Conor and obviously George, that would be amazing as well for the 165 belt. It would be an insane story. So who knows? Like, you know what I mean? I always say, I think whatever the fans kick up for the most, like, and whatever the fans rally behind, that's what fight will happen. Do you know what I mean? Because that's been the case always. When the fans, come out in the millions, and they all start kicking up, and they get on Instagram, they get on Twitter, and they start calling for this big fight, whatever it may be. That's what would make the most sense. You know what I mean?
Well, there you go, guys. It's up to the fans. Owen, we could literally sit here and talk to you all day. We have so much more to ask you, but you've been very generous, very kind with your time, and I feel like we've been a bit greedy, so we'll let you go. Guys, don't forget to follow the man on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Owen Roddy. Of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Coach Owen Roddy. A lot of vlogs, a lot of techniques. Send him your requests, because he is doing requests for the techniques, and we hope to see you in Australia one of these days, Owen. Obviously, there's a lot of hungry martial artists wanting to learn from you yourself. We already got Coach Kavanagh. I think it's time for Owen Roddy to come down, maybe do some seminars and teach the technique of the week in real life.
Maybe if that's the case, if I could get over, I would. Look, guys, appreciate it. I hope you're all good, and I'll leave you to it. Cheers.